and I left age of 9. Why so young? Because I had a very bad experience that I was going to my Jewish school, and my friend who's non-Jewish, we walk together. He goes to his school, I go to my school. In the evening we meet together and we go back home. So that day, normally I came up from my school and I forgot the kippah on my head. Normally, we are not, because we are frightened not to leave the kippah. Is only that we have in our tradition that when you go to shul, then you put your kippah on. When you finish your school, then you put you take off your kippah and you go outside. But that day, I just forgot it. So my best friend he looked at me and he says, he saw the kippah, he grabbed it from my head, put it on the floor and stepped on it. So I had the fear. I was stunned and shocked. I said, why did you do this? He said, you're Jewish, and that time already we are talking in the 67, it was after the 6-day war. So I was going back home, I was crying to my mother, and I told her what happened to my best friend who is, Moroccan. And she told me, my son, you have to know that you are Jewish. You are Moroccan, but you're also Jewish. I didn't accept it.
Thank you.
For me, all the same. So I had to fear to stay in Morocco. So I told my mother I want to leave. He said, where do you want to live in age of 9? I said, I don't care. I just cannot go back to school. My driver of my father will take me and bring me back because I will not go outside in the street. Until was a school created in England called the Montefiore College. And this school was specially made for the North African Jews who came from Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Tunisia, who wants to go and stay in that school at that age. So, and by the way, I have 10 brothers and 1 sister. Okay, all my brothers are living in Israel. My sister lives in England. And I live now in Morocco. I have 38 nephews and nieces. Don't ask me their name.
But one of them lives in Kiryat Gat.
Yes.
We connected because that's the town where I'm from.
And so my mother, even she wasn't happy for me to leave, but I lived and I made a promise. I will never put my footstep in that country anymore. For 17 years, never went back. I did my bar mitzvah in England. If they wanted to come to see me, they can come to see me. I will not come in there. I was 3 years in Israel. I did my Israeli army. I was a Kher Golani in the first Lebanon war. Then came back to England, and I was working as a delicatessen business, catering business, because for that I love pastrami and gefilte fish. That I don't find here in Morocco. So always when I came here to Boston and to New York, Klein Huri, they gave me so much of that pastrami and kugel also. And also I was, by the way, 3 years in a Talmudic center, yeshiva. And then one day my mother, she wasn't feeling too good. She asked, my father called me, said, you have to come and visit your mother. So I took a ticket from England for 2 weeks to come to visit my mother. I am now there for 35 years. Why? Because my mother asked me, why you don't want to stay with me? I said, what do you want me to do here? Is no more future for us as a young generation. And, I said, I am by myself. I am by myself here. So to make, as we say in Hebrew, kibbut ava'em, to honor your father and mother, I said, if I found a good job, I will stay. So I started to work with an organization called the JDC, the Joint Distribution Committee, for 6 years as a social worker. Then was a cut budget. So it was nothing for me to do. So I told my mother, that it's nothing no more for me to do here. And my dream is to go to Miami, to Florida. Why? Because I have an uncle living there. So, but my mother told me, when God closes a gate, opens another gate. So my love and passion is to do the research why the Jews they came to Morocco and for what they came. So my father said, if you like that kind of research, I'm going to buy you a small 4-wheel drive, and I'm going to give you some money in your account and go to do your own research.
Wow.
So for 8 years, I went out from home. But what gave me the love and passion to do this when I went to the south of Morocco, to a little village called Taroudan. And I was sitting in a cafe, and there were 2 old people, not Jews, Berbers. And said, should I ask them about Jews, that time? I said, but I have to. So I knew that man is 85 years old. So I came to him and said, excuse me, is any Jews living in this village? So that man opened his eyes and he holds my hand. He said, come with me. So he makes me walk inside the village where I see all the women all covered up. And I said, oh, where is taking me this guy? And then he tells me, why took you 45 years to come? I said, for what? He said, your rabbi in this village, when he left in 1945, gave us a key of a synagogue. He said, anybody comes, please give it to him. I opened the synagogue, was full of haystacks. Start to clean up all the hay, and I see all the Hebrew writing. This synagogue is 850 years old. I just finished restoring with the help of Kivunim and Peter Geffen, who donated the money to restore that synagogue in the middle of nowhere. But in my head, I asked him, I said to myself, why you didn't destroy it? When the Jews, they left, what do you care? He said, whatever the Jews, they left, we have a word in Arabic, we say, they left their barakah, they left their blessing. So anything belongs to the Jews, we don't touch. So I was more want to do research. Who are the Berbers and what relationship they were with the Jews? So you have to understand that the first settlers in Morocco, they were the Berbers. The Berber comes from the word barbarians. They were pagans. And originally, before they came to Morocco, they came from Iran and Iraq by a research of a very famous professor called Yom Tov Assis from Jerusalem. When they came to Morocco, they didn't believe in any religion. Why? Because you see a lot of Berbers, they had like a tattoo in here or there to show you the sign, what kind of a tribe they are from. After the destroyed of the second temple, the Jews was exiled from Palestine. They came to North Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, and Tunisia. And they were welcomed by the Sultan to Morocco, not because of their nice faces. He left them in because they came with a highly trade of silver makers, saddle makers. So he let them in. They assimilated with the Berbers. When the Berbers, they saw how the Jews, they do their slaughtering of their cattle, and how they pray, some of the Berbers, they convert to Judaism. Those what we call the Atlas Jews. Till now, who are the first Jews who left when the state of Israel existed. And they were in the Atlas mountain. And there were 175,000 Berber Jews in all that area. Because Morocco before had 350,000 Jews. Later we'll tell you how many we are left now. But those, we call them the Toshavim in Hebrew, is the settled Jews who came to Morocco before the Arabs. The Arabs only came in the 9th century. Then we have another sect of Jews. We call them in Hebrew the Megurashim, the exiled Jews from Spain in 1492 by Elizabeth the Catholic. And they came to the north of Morocco. And God forbid that somebody from the north will marry somebody from the south. It will be like, there will be a mixed marriage. That the North Jews, they called us forasteros. In Spanish, are foreigners. Why? I made my family root. We are 700 years old from the Atlas mountain. For that, my name is Elmaleh, come from the word mela, salt. They were in the trade of salt. So I know that I am my ancestors are Berber Jews. So it was a big separation between these kinds of Jews of the North and the South Jews. But also you have to know that we have the only Jewish museum exists in the Arab world is in Casablanca. Took me 8 years to build this museum. You have to understand, before I never thought that I'm going to be the only Jewish guide in Arab world. My passion is to restore our ancient places like synagogues and to create this museum. Why gave me this museum love to create it? When I went to another town called Taliwin, in an area, and I saw a synagogue all fell down. And then a woman sitting there, an old woman. I said, what happened here? He said, well, the Jews, they left. They didn't care about it. Everything fell down. This synagogue, I finished it last month. It's 650 years old synagogue. I just finished to restore it. But she told me when I was walking back, she said, you know that your rabbi, when he was here, he gave us a curse. I said, about what? He said, because he put all the books, the Torah and everything, under the synagogue. We call it in Hebrew, geniza. We don't throw Jewish books. We have to bury them. But we know we are the Moroccan Jews. We don't bury under the synagogue. We bury in the cemetery. And she told me, but I've seen it with my own eyes. So clicked in my head. I said, if I open this, that wasn't open for 48 years, maybe I can find manuscript of how the Berber Jews, they know when is Pesach. You are in the middle, because if you are in the Atlas Mountain, you will not know even when is Rosh Chodesh, how they made marriage. So maybe inside there I could find manuscript. And she told me, but you cannot open it. I said, why? He said, your rabbi gave us a curse that anybody opens this hole, he will be beaten by a scorpion. I said, what a what a story. But as we are the Jews, we believe in rabbis. I went to my chief rabbi and I asked him, is that true? If a rabbi makes a curse? Actually, he said, because as the Berbers, they respected the Jews. Anything what the rabbi said, they will not touch. But I said, Rabbi, this is very important for me. He said, well, go back there and make few words of Tehillim. Tehillim is sound. Yes, sound music. And open it. So this place also wasn't open for 48 years. So I go back there when all the village came to look at me. When I went under the synagogue, I took off the stones and I found all the Torah in clay jars. Beautiful preserved because of the clay. So I found manuscripts, Sefer Torah, books. So I didn't want to leave them there. Now they saw me, they can take it. So, but all of them there was waiting not to take what is there, to see if the curse of the rabbi was true, that I will be beaten by a scorpion. I wasn't beaten by a scorpion when I came out. So one said to the other, the curse was on us, not on him. He's Jewish. You understand? Only to show you how the Berbers, they respected the Jews. And this was for many centuries. When I interview a Berber non-Jew, and I tell him, how many years you know the Jews? He always tells me, when I opened my eyes, my father opened his eyes, his grandfather opened his eyes, his great-grandfather found the Jews here. Until in the 9th century. The 9th century, Islam came to Morocco. So starting to convert the Berbers to Islam. Told them, this is your right religion, not only the Jews, also some, the Muslim, all the Berbers, also the Jews, has to be some of them converted, if not they will be killed. For that, we have a guide in Fez until now. His name is Ahmed Cohen. You see, so some of the Jews convert, but they didn't change their name, only or say Ben Cohen. My name is Elmaleh. We have Muslim called Ben Jesus, Ben Jesus, Shukrun, Ben Shkrun. So Benjamin is Ben Jelun. So those, they didn't want to be killed. So they only convert, but now they are pure. But I tell you something that is amazing. We are talking about now 500 years ago. The guide, Ahmed Cohen, that is in Mafaz. Sometimes I cannot be with him because he's also my guide when I go there to listen when I speak about the Jewish heritage. So I told him, if sometimes I send you a client because I cannot come, please, you have to take him inside the Jewish cemetery. He said, can you do me a favor? I cannot take him inside. I said, why? You are a Muslim. He said, no, because my grandfather told me it's bad luck for me. He doesn't know because he's a Kohen, he cannot go in. Can you imagine for 500 years and still respect? But he doesn't know the reason because he's a Kohen. Because his father told him it's bad luck. So he doesn't go inside the cemetery. So he's amazing. But what love and have passion is to open more than 62 places under the ground in the cemeteries to take out everything for the article. JDC gave me a budget and the Moroccan Jewish community gave me a budget. Rafi, could you do this job for us? So I went all over Morocco to open 62 places and to bring all the articles, what it was abandoned. Some synagogue, they were closed down and it was broken. I didn't want to leave the Sefer Torahs there, the beautiful labs. So I broke inside, we had the authorization and bring everything and we put them in the Jewish museum that we have in Casablanca. But when I went in Tangier, in the north, I went inside to look for the things and I found the Megillah. We just now finished Purim, no?
Yep.
I didn't find Megillat Esther. I found Megillat Hitler. Is the only Megillah exists in the world. I took it to United States when I was here 10 years ago to the Jewish Museum in New York, and I took it to Israel, to Yad Vashem. But the Yad Vashem asked me for it. I said, no, it's mine. I want to bring it back to Morocco. Of course, we want to build a museum. But they Xeroxed it. But I never understood why they had a Megillat Hitler for. This was written by a person called, his name was Etedki from Tangier. You have to understand it was a law in Morocco by King Mohammed V that no one can learn or teach about the Holocaust in the schools or in the universities. Why? Thought in his mind, the King Mohammed V, if I teach the Holocaust, it will be a big hatred between the Muslims and the Jews and say, look what Hitler, this was a mistake, but he didn't want to put it in the education. But we had to teach our kids, in our schools, and it was forbidden. So what we did, the government knows that we have once a year a Purim, and we read the Megillah in Purim, and we dress up like for Haman and everything. Exactly the same day, we have, after when we finish Megillat Esther, we have the Megillat Hitler is wrote like a Megillah. And when we say Vahi b'me Hitler, the kids, they will bang their feet on the floor, and all the Holocaust is written for them so they will know. These are for the Jews in the north. In the south, we didn't have that education. Like I told you, the Berber Jews, they wasn't open so much. So they didn't have. Why? Because I remember when I was age of 10 and 13, I was in England. Across my next to our school was a Christian school. And every morning when I pass next to it, I can see Kenai Hori, that big cross. So I called my mother and I said, you see that big cross? And she said, when you pass my son, just close your eyes. I don't know for what. But one day I was coming out from the school and a Christian boy came out from the school and he says to me, you know why Hitler put you in the gas chambers? To me. I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. What are you talking about? He said, because you never paid your gas bill. I didn't understand anything until I went to my teacher. I said, what is the boy in that school telling me about Hitler, gas chamber? He said, why, you don't know? I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't know. He said, well, you never learned about this? I said, no, I'm sorry, I never learned. To tell you the truth, when I was age of 9, until I came to England, then I learned about it. But now, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, His Majesty King Mohammed VI obligated every university and high school has to learn about the Holocaust and the Jewish heritage of Morocco. When they start to learn about it, the museum we had is more than 15 years open. We never had one Muslim come to visit our museum because it's Jewish. When they start to talk about it in schools and, and the obligate university, now we have more than 7,000 Muslim kids coming to see our museum. Because why? They want to bring the tolerance and understanding between the Jews and the Muslims. In between them, like you will have Sunni. Jad, he's a Muslim, but he works with me, and he became one of the Jewish guide also. And he will tell you also his experience as a Muslim relationship with the Jews. But only to show you now how Morocco, it is more developed in a very understanding and teaching them about the Holocaust. And I tell you the truth, from the time that the Holocaust started, is the first time in my life I found one Jewish cemetery with a swastika and a Magen David. That we never had that in Morocco. So I took the picture and I sent it to Andre Azoulay, who's the advisor of the king, who is Jewish. And you see, when the education didn't know, you never find a swastika in Morocco. Now you find swastika everywhere. To show you why King Mohammed V didn't want to teach about the Holocaust. But we have internet. Everybody can know. Now, also you have to understand that on Morocco, we had 2 labor camps. Was built by the French and the Germans. And they made them one in Figig, is the border between Algeria and Morocco, and the second outside of Rabat, a town called Kenitra. I went to visit those camps. When I went inside and asked the guardian, what was here before? He said, this is an army base. But when I went inside, I could see the bunkers. And they made 100,000 yellow stars to give to the Jews. Those are the French and the Germans. And they went to His Majesty Mohammed V. Said, can we have the list of the Jews? And he said, and who told you I have Jews? He said, we know that you have 350,000 Jews. He said, no, I have Moroccans. I don't have Jews. And I heard you made 100,000 yellow stars. Could you make another 50 for me and my family? And please take me with my citizens. Then he called the Americans to come, and the Jews never went to the camp. This is a Muslim king who gave his life and strongly not to leave the Germans and the French to take the Jews. You have to understand that we have a Jewish quarter, yes? I interviewed 100 Jews in Israel, because when I was doing my research, I had to go to Israel also for 2 years to interview people who they lived in the Jewish quarter, okay? We don't call it a ghetto. In Morocco, we didn't have a ghetto. It wasn't forced to the Jews to live in the ghetto. It's the Jews who asked the king in 1492, can we have a place where to live? He told them, build your quarter next to the king's palace. So in every Morocco, in every imperial city, you'll find the Jewish quarter next to the king's palace. But why we call it the Melah comes from the word in Hebrew, salt. In Arabic, Al-Milh is salt. The trade of Morocco before was the trade of salt. But we are not talking about white salt, we are talking about the red salt. The red salt who comes from the mountains. And they do it fertilizing and also to dry the skin. And it was more expensive than gold. It was controlled by the Sultan. When the Jews, they built their quarter, he trusted the Jews. He said, you will be now the trade of salt. So anybody comes with the caravanserai, he said, well, we can buy milk He said, in the melah. But then they gave the wood melah. Okay? The gates, they were gates. Those gates, they will only be closed on Friday night and Shabbat. Why? Because there was a war, so they can carry inside and they'll have no business on Friday night and Shabbat. Once the Shabbos will be open. In 1912, when the French, they came, they made it a ghetto. They told to the Jews, you cannot live outside of the Jewish quarter. You stay in and close phone on you every night. So can you imagine that when they were there, from 1912 till 1956, they made it a ghetto that the Jews, they cannot even build a synagogue outside of the Jewish quarter. In the independence of Morocco in 1956 or 58, King of Morocco, King Mohammed V, said, citizens of Morocco, Jews and Muslims, you may live anywhere you want. The first synagogue was built outside of the Jewish quarter is in Marrakesh, where we went with Jackie Kadosh, to show you that is a proud that the Muslim king who gave that freedom of the Jews to live outside of the Jewish quarter. So you have to understand that my love and passion is what the relationship. I am very proud to be a Jew in this Arab country. You know, in October 7th, I was in Israel. Exactly my flight going back on the 7th. So I was stuck for five days, I think. Me and I took especially Jad with me to Israel to see my family and everything in Israel. We had a beautiful time, everything till the last day. But for me, it was something that how I will find the attitude of Moroccans when I come back to Morocco, where I live after the 7th of October. I tell you the truth, I came back, was no changes at all. The same people, we went to shul. I come out from my shul, there is a cafe. I come out, everybody who knows me, they will say, Shabbat Shalom Rafi. And I'll go, we had a bit security. We had riots. I will not tell you that we don't have riots. It's like all over. It happens. 40% of the population of Muslim didn't want, because it was a good Abraham Accord with Israel. They had a very good relationship. They didn't want to spoil that relationship. But unfortunately, you know, it happens in the Arab world, so he couldn't. But we didn't felt. The Jews who they stayed in Morocco, we didn't feel, we have to move. Something is going to change. Nothing. Why? Because of the tolerance of the king teaching them in school who are the Jews of Morocco and who are the citizens. So we couldn't, for 30 years I am there, I never heard once a Muslim came to me and said, Saljarif, a dirty Jew. Never. They respect our religion, we respect their religion. We don't feel that hatred between them that we can see other places. And that gave me the love and passion to do all this work in Morocco. For that I am proud to be still a guide in Morocco. And thank you very much and for everything. And if you have any questions, with pleasure will answer the question. Then I will tell you the last story why I went to Israel, and then Jad, he will tell you something. Yes, madam.
What I've heard you say most of your talk is how you did not feel hatred towards the Jews. But your first story is this kid that took your kippah and stepped on it. So where did that come from?
That's
good
question.
question.
I'll tell you something. This is what I told you in the car. This happened when I was age of 9, that time of 67, okay, the 6-Day War. Maybe like 3 months ago, yes, I always go to shul on Shabbat. That 3 months ago, I went to shul. I have a guardian in my street. I don't know if he knows that I'm Jewish, but you know, every time we speak together, hello, how are you, and everything. And normally when I go to shul, when I come out, I take off my kippah and I put it in my pocket. That day, I was talking to some people in the shul, and I forgot the kippah on my head. And I walked down, and the guardian looked at me and said, are you Jewish? Like this, he said. He didn't say with hatred. I said, what a schmuck. You don't, and you know me so long, so much, and you don't know that I'm Jewish. He said, I said, no. I said, why are you asking me that question now? He said, because you have that thing on your head. He didn't grab it from me. He said, I'm just now surprised to see that you are Jewish. That is the difference. You see, before, yes, it was very hard to the Jews. It was, you know that in 1967, 120,000 Jews left. Because you have to understand, all the Arab world told to the Jews, if you don't leave, we'll slaughter you. Morocco never said that. It's the fear of the attitude of changing. People, they saw in Morocco in 67, what happened, you know, in the 6-day war and everything. The Arabs changed their attitude between the Jews. So the Jew felt, this is not my place. Like I felt, it's not my place. Why that person had to do it to me? But coming back after and staying there 35 years, going inside their home, and they know that I am Jewish, and sit with them and talk to them with all my research, who welcomed me in their home, only them. I slept in their home, they gave me food, everything, and they know that I am Jewish. He could tell me, no, get out from my house. He never did it. That's what made the changes. But if I was coming and that happened to me, I will never come back again. Of course I will leave.
I just wanted to follow this to just mention so many Moroccan Jews left that today in Israel, the majority of the, I would say 57%, if not more, of the population in Israel is Mizrahi, and they are from the Jews who came from Morocco. Because they also, when they came to Israel, and Ben Gurion said, we need many children so that we can have soldiers. All these Moroccan Jews who came to Israel had 6, 7, 8 children, whereas the Ashkenazi who came 2 children, that was big. You know, when I came to the States and I had 4 children, and my friend from Russia said, they called it like a mother hero, because who had 4 children? In Russia, if you have 1 child, you did your duty, right? Let alone 2. But in Israel, people came, and I know many of our friends, and they had 5, 6, 7 children because Ben Gurion said, we need children for Israel. So the majority of the people today in Israel are those who came out of Morocco.
But my parents had, 10 kids.
Yeah.
But that I just want to tell you this, why are we talking about this? When I was age of 16, I called my mother from England, and I said I would love to go to meet my brothers that I never met. I have 5 brothers, I don't even know them. Why? My mother got married when she was 14. She had the first child when she was 15. She was still in school. My father was 18. But you have to understand why, because before they didn't want to have mixed marriage. So for that, they married the young girls quickly. Because you have to understand, in Morocco, we are 0% intermarriage. Okay? Why? Because it's in our tradition. We're not Hasidim, but we are very traditional. Shabbat, we respect Shabbat, we light candles. When we go after our mothers. So when I called my mother, she said, I don't know where they are. Why? Because you have to understand, like Chaya said, that, bring the young kids to Israel. So they went to my mother and said, can we have your children? We want to take them to Israel, because we need them for education and all the tzava and everything. Then we will call you and you'll come back, and they lied to them. They took the kids and they left the parents by themselves in Morocco. Even my younger brother called Shimon, that is he lives now in Nahariya. He left Morocco as a baby. So he was adopted by another family. So my mother never saw her children. The time she left, who saw me? He only the Bechor, the firstborn. When I was a little baby, he was age of 13 when he left to Israel. So I told my mother, you know what? I'm going to go to Israel to make my own research on my brothers. So I asked in England, what is nice to take to a brother you never met? He said, that time, electrical things, everything is expensive. So I bought a mixer and I said, if I see them, I have to give them something nice. So can you imagine age of 16 going the first time in Israel? I didn't speak no Hebrew, only French, Arabic, and English. And coming inside Israel, you don't know where to go, how to start your research. So I was so nervous in the plane. So the plane lands in Ben Gurion Airport. I was coming out. The man in the customs said, you have something to declare in Hebrew. I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak Hebrew. He said, English? I said, yes. He said, you have something to declare? I said, no. He said, open your bag. So he takes out the mixer. He said, all this you have to pay duty. I said, I am so sorry. This is my first time in Israel. And I came here especially because I'm looking for my brothers. I wanted to give them a nice present. He said, can I see your passport? So he sees my passport, Raphael David Elmaleh. He said, Elmaleh? Oh, we have a lot of people here, Elmaleh. He tells me. I said, oh, please, if you know anybody named Elmaleh, give me his phone number. He could be maybe my brother, he could be my cousin, so I can contact with him, one Elmaleh. And he looks at me and said, can I ask you another question? I said, please, you're so nice to me. Anything that you can help me, I'll be so happy. But I'll tell you why I came here. I have my father and my mother lives in Morocco. My younger sister still living in Morocco, and my younger brother. I live in England. My brothers are here. I don't know them. For that, I want to make this happiness of my mother to look to find my brother. For that, I came to Israel to look for them. So he looks at me and said, can I ask you another question? I said, anything that you can help me. It was so good. He said, is your father named Jacob? My name. I said, yes. He said, is your mother Juliette? He said, yes, I am your brother. It took me 25 minutes talking to him. I said, I am Rafi. He said, I am Sami. You know what? One thing, my mother told me when I called her on the phone before, and I said, I'm going to Israel. I said, don't worry, an angel will be waiting for you. That is my blessing of my mother. And the second, he told me, today wasn't my day. Only my friend was ill. I had to replace him. Look, the beshert that was inside. So I had to go to find my other brothers. Took us 2 years to find the baby that he was adopted by another family. Then I brought my mother and father Ohev Beth Sholom from Morocco. And then we made the Pesach Seder at home that we were 48 on the Seder. She saw her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. And she told me, now if I need to die, I die. I saw all my family. That was the big thing I did for my family. So I said in my book, Rafi found his brother, like Joseph, found his brother. But I tell you something, he got the best present. You have to, no?
I'll tell you something else.
Yes.
Rafi just happened to mention he wrote a book, and he's going to tell you about the book.
Yeah, called Jews Under the Moroccan Skies. You can buy
And you
it.
should have had the book.
He has the book also in the car.
Can you go get it?
Yeah.
We can have a
How
little
many
sale.
Jews are left in Morocco?
But then,
How many Jews are left in Morocco?
now, how many Jews we have in Morocco is 2,000. 1,300 in Casablanca,
Wow.
and the rest are in the imperial cities. For 1,300 Jews in Casablanca, we have 22 synagogues.
At 80 million.
And we have 12 kosher butchers, 6 kosher restaurants, 4 Jewish schools, and 5 caterers, Kenain Huri. You have to understand why. Because Morocco, they are very traditional. Everybody go to shul, and every morning. And also they only eat kosher. So they are, traditional people. But that we have that community. We other people we have, like in Marrakesh, before there were 35,000 Jews. Now there are about, say, 70 left. Fez, 32,000 Jews. Now there are 40 left. So the community, we have a place in Morocco called Essaouira. It's the most beautiful place that before was 40,000 Jews and 30,000 non-Jews. There were more Jews than non-Jews. And I remember that, in the history, that Marechal Youti was the head of the French. He wanted to make a port in Essaouira of import and export. But he comes on Shabbat. when he sees the town so quiet. So he asked the man, "Where is the governor?" He said, "Today is Shabbat, he's in the synagogue." He said, "What about the governor?" He said, "He's also in the synagogue." By his hatred, he said, "Did I come to a Jewish city?" So he take off the port from Essaouira and took it to Agadir, and the economy of Essaouira came down because it was ruled by the Jews. So the French, I'll tell you something, they wasn't no good to the Jews in Morocco. Always they were racist to the Jews.
I want to also mention that Rafi said about the King Hassan V. Several years ago, maybe 10 years ago,
Yes.
Peter in New York, they arranged. You want to tell about that?
Yeah, no, that was I was the United Nations to declare King Mohammed VI of one of the
Righteous
among the size of saving the Jews. We asked Andre Azoulay to ask His Majesty Mohammed VI if this letter is written and signed, because Yad Vashem asked us for that letter, and he said yes, we have it, but he doesn't want to give it at the moment because he's an Arab country. So and he's helped. He's a lot of petrol, everything from the other Arab world. So it's political, but we know that this was declared and was given and refused by His Majesty Mohammed V not to give his citizens to the Nazis or to them. And this is the book.
They also, the granddaughter of the king came to the.
That is the
she-
granddaughter came. No, the sister of this the new king came to United Nations
To get this
to
award.
get to this award.
Oh,
Yeah.
So this is the book. If you want this, you can see it. You have the hard one, and the soft one is cheap.
Right?
Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon. Yes, madam.
I couldn't find it, so it's on Amazon?
Yes. So
I'll look again, because as soon as I saw that you had written this book, I wanted to read it before.
Ah.
Yeah, take a picture of this.
Okay, so I just will let Jet to give you a few words how we met together and how is his experience about the Jewish.
Hello everyone, my name is Jad Wala. I'm 31 years old. And the first time I met Rafi, it was like in my first year of masters in the north. I was studying in the north, business management and administration, business management. And he was doing like a lecture about the coexistence and the Jewish heritage. And because like he says before, like in our families, even with education, we never had that education about the Holocaust and the Jewish heritage of Morocco. So when I heard him, I was shocked, and I get with him intact. So, and then he started to teach me and to take me with him all over the tours to learn more about the Jewish heritage. And until I get my license of guiding last year in the Jewish heritage. And so I got to show everyone the coexistence, and my family now is like family, and his family too, if I went all over, just to show, to spread that love, coexist to everyone.
That last year he had a group of Hasidim.
Like 2 years
And
ago.
2 years ago, and he was saying they would said, so the guy calls me, said, he's with us, he's not with us. I told him he's not Jewish, but he was saying, Nishkefeila, so he couldn't understand it.
Well, tell us about the Mimuna. So in the University of Al-Quain.
Al-Akhwan University, they create an association called Mimuna. Mimuna Club is like an association about teaching the students about the Jewish heritage and Holocaust. Some you have to understand that some kids who are very religious, Islamic religious, their parents, they will tell them, no, don't go inside that lesson. You don't need to learn it about it. But some other people, they force themselves to create an association. Now they have a lot of kids, and to teach them about the Jewish heritage of Morocco and the heritage. And a lot of them now, they are coming inside. I remember me 35 years ago, I went to the Jewish quarter in Marrakesh. And I was like, when I was doing my research. And I found a small kid, I said to him, if the Jews, he said, who are the Jews? He didn't know nothing at all. Now you go by yourself now to Marrakesh, said he will come and said, oh, synagogue, come, I'll take you, Baruch haba. And he'll take you. Why? Because he learned now.
And
So for that, you have to understand that the King Mohammed VI want to bring that strong tolerance between the Jews and the Muslims. He gave $1 million from his own money to restore 370 Jewish cemeteries, to make walls, everything on their own private money. And now he's also helping us, the Minister of Culture, to restore all Jewish heritage of Morocco. And we are very happy to, when I start to restore these synagogues, the people there, they were telling me why. Is the Jews coming back? So by joke, I said, yes, maybe. He said, oh, they can come. The house where we are staying now, they belongs to them. When they left, we took it over. But we welcome them if they want to come back.
And even now we're having like in the north, like there is a university of tourism. Now they having like the bachelor degree to become a guide in the Jewish heritage. And it starts like 2 years now. This year he will
Yes, I want to speak
lectures,
that.
and lessons about the Jewish heritage.
So when I was in Casablanca and we went to the Hassan Mosque,
Yes.
the second largest mosque in the Arab world, the guide spoke Hebrew. Because there's so many from Israel, there's so many tourists who came to Morocco.
For that I say, you have to come to see to believe.
Yeah.
And you are welcome anytime. Yeah, Chaya, and he's here, they know you can come and we can show you the beauty of Morocco. Not only Jewish, we show you also the relationship between the Jews and the Muslims, how they live together.
This university, Al Afrain, they had the first ever Holocaust conference in an Arab university.
Yeah.
And Peter arranged.
Yes,
that
yes.
with
Arranged
some
things like
survi-
that.
There was a survivor who came, who spoke about her experiences, I forget her name.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so the students are actually coming and learning about what happened to the Jewish people, so.
I don't want to get us off topic, but I want to mention that Aya and I were in Poland, the country Poland a few years ago. And partly for Kent State, but partially because we wanted to explore Aya's roots. So we went back to the town where her father grew up, just outside of Warsaw, a little town called Riki. And Haya's talking, she met this lady near this lake that her dad told me about. I used to fish there, I used to ice skate there, I used to do all this stuff. And Haya's talking to this lady in Polish, which we were learning at the time. And the lady kind of spits and says, he didn't live here, there was never a synagogue here. It was blah, blah, blah. And unlike in Morocco, the Polish folks there thought the Jews were going to come back and take back the homes that they took over, and take back all the wealth and all that stuff. So it was the contract.
Yes, so the contract is very different. Yeah.
Right.
But just real quick, I used to, I had some time in the Poland high school. We have a city named Poland, actually from here. And so, he was saying something to the students, and I was able to listen to what he was talking. This was a high school, and he told the students, let's see, now this must have been in about the mid-80s, 1980s. So it's quite a long time ago. He said there are no more Jewish people that live in Poland. And so I let it go right then. But when he was done, I didn't want to, just anyway, so I went up to him afterward and I said, is it really true that there's no Jewish? Yes, there's no Jewish people. And so I believe that he believed that, but that was so, like, why? It's been bothering me since 1980, whatever. Yeah,
Hey.
why he would say that, for fear, for ignorance, just erased, totally
There are
erased.
many Jewish.
Yes, sir.
people.
Obviously,
The Jews.
how does Morocco deal with their good relationship with Jews in other Arab countries? How does that affect their?
That's a good question.
Well, we don't have a lot of Arab Jews in other Arab countries. Like in Tunisia, we have still 1,300 Jews in Tunisia. But they treat them very differently than we are, because we were in Tunisia also. I did my research in Tunisia also.
Well,
They are like this. They are like, when you go in already, you have a circle army in their area. They are very, very secure. Inside there, I saw them, with the kippah on their head and the petilim, and they have kosher restaurants inside. their quarter. But outside, they look them differently than they were. But other Arab countries like Algeria is no more Jews. I'll tell you what happened to me in Algeria when I was doing my research. I did Morocco, Tunisia, and I wanted to go to Algeria also, because that time I knew that there were 100 Jews still in Algeria. So the chief rabbi of Tunis, he said, as you have a Moroccan passport, you can go in, because I was very interesting to understand a bit about these 100 Jews who lives in Algeria. So I said, he told me, don't worry, I'm going to send a man, a Jewish man, from the other side of the border. He will wait for you there. When you drive from Tunisia to Algeria, he will wait and then he will take you around. He fixed everything for me, the rabbi. When I came to the border between Tunisia and Algeria, the man sent me a passport. I give him my passport. He looked at it, it's all written in Arabic, our Moroccan passport. And he sees Raphael Elmaleh. I said, Raphael David, Moroccan? I said, yes. I didn't say, it's not written Jewish. And he says, but le passeport Moroccan, the name is not Arabic name. I said, no, Moroccan. I didn't say anything. I said, Moroccan. So he went to his friend. He said, look, an Arab passport, but the name Raphael David is not Arab. So the other one looked at me and he said, c'est un juif Moroccan. He's a Moroccan Jew. So the other man came back to me and said, is a Jew? Are you Jewish? I said, yes, juif Moroccan. He takes the passport, throw it on my face, and go back to Tunisia.
The rabbi was on the other side. He was
With hatred. And he says to me, the rabbi from the side, he said, don't say anything, go back.
But Arnie, you were asking more about the King of Morocco's political.
Well, yeah,
dealings with
yeah, I
other-
mean, that was helpful, that was good. But yeah, is that more of the political?
Like what?
So there's the king of Morocco, King Mohammed, right
Yes.
now, who has to deal with other Arab nations. I think you want to rephrase your question.
Yeah, that's basically, how does the Moroccan government deal with the other Arab governments today?
Considering that they take care of Jews.
You know,
Not at all, nothing. Really, is no problem at all. Well, he has no relationship with Iran and Iran. You see, so with Morocco, with the king, but like Dubai, Saudi Arabia, they come to. They know that they have 1,000 to 3,000, 2,000 Jews, but they would not tell him, we're not going to help you because you have Jews. But there never was no problem between the king of his citizen bothering the other Arab world. We remember once when Yasser Arafat came to Morocco, and he was on Shabbat, he was on Boulevard d'Enfant, where Neve Shalom. And we were coming out from Shul, and he was with the king, passing with the car. And we wanted to tell him Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, when we were there, one of the two Morocco, it was during the Intifada, and we were somewhere in the south, and we came to like have
I
dinner.
remember the barbecue. Yeah, this is something amazing that once we had a group of teachers and we went to the desert, but it was like
On the way.
very windy. We couldn't do a barbecue. So I told Peter, you know what? We'll drive and we'll find a place that we can make a barbecue. And that was the time of the Intifada. So we step next to a cafe. I go in, I see a big television. What on it? Al Jazeera. With the Arabs, the war is going. So I come to him and said, excuse me, I have a group. We want to eat. He said, Marhaba. I said, no. I don't want your food. We have our own food. We are kasher. And we want to make our own barbecue. He said, no problem. We'll fix everything. He said, switch off that television. When we went in, we switched off the television. And we went in and we had a beautiful barbecue and we left them to put it on again.
So they were.
Can you imagine this? In an Arab world to respect us, they said switch off that television. You happened to
Yeah,
in the 7th of October, what happened to him?
Yeah, in the 7th of October, like when we get back to Morocco, I know it's going to be a talking effect. So, and I went to the old Medina, I know friends there, they're having coffee, the owner of coffee. just I was entering to the coffee, like he switched off, like he changed the TV. It was like the talk of the CC or someone. He changed it straight.
Because he knows that I'm Jewish press, and he want to respect it. He said, switch off the Al Jazeera or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, madam.
10 years ago, I was in Morocco after my son's wedding in Casablanca. And I mean, in
Marrakech.
Gibraltar. And I wanted to learn some Moroccan Arabic before I went. And I found a young woman who lives in Bournemouth. She met me at the mall to make sure I wasn't up to no good. And I went to her home to eat twice a week. And then when I did go to Morocco, I stayed with her mother.
Wow.
And her sister took me sightseeing on one of their good friends. And they knew,
And they know that you're Jewish?
they knew I was Jewish, of course.
Yes.
But it was not anything that
Yeah,
could have been said. It was just friendship.
Yes.
and hospitality is a big deal in the Arab world. And especially in Morocco. So when we were in the village in Torredon, was it?
Yeah, in Terudan.
Yes, so, and we had the outside and they brought the food and the dancing and.
And also what we will bother with the other Arab world, how many Jews he has Morocco? 2,000? They think they can? Look, Dubai now. They open so many kosher restaurants. They make more business than us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even that, like the citizens of Morocco, they care about like the Jewish population inside Morocco now. Too much.
Right, well, so.
Yeah, like very good. Like we should protect them.
Yeah.
Well,
the
we
Jews-
have 25 families from France, Jewish,
They can.
came back to live in Morocco. Because they said when I interviewed them, they said here we can feel less racism than when we feel in France.
Yeah, and also
Amazing.
the Jews who came to Israel, the children, the grandchildren. Have this thing about going back to Morocco and visit their graves and
Yes.
visit
We
the
have
houses. So there's
thousands
a
of
lot
Israelis.
many Israelis who come on like pilgrimage, but also as they come, right? And so there are many guides now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, many guides, but the best is Rafi.
The only Israel, the only
No,
Israel. You will not find that passing west.
No.
You will not find some.
In Israel, when they come, they
Yes,
bring them
That's
an
right.
Israeli guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't know nothing about Morocco, but when I am there and an Israeli group, they listen to me when I'm talking to my group. So the chief of them, they said to him, could you shut up, let us him listen to him, because he doesn't know so. And it's true, because they don't know the history, about Morocco if they didn't do the research and the life of living in Morocco.
I have a question about the Hitler Megillah. So they copied it at Yad Vashem. It's in the museum in Casablanca.
Yes,
What it's the story of the Holocaust written, like, have they made replications of it or?
no,
You find it-
they just put there what Hitler and the Nazi did to the Jews. You have a part of, they say about in Berlin, what happened to them, when they took them and what they did to them in the gas chamber. And he will be next year, he will be all written, explained in English.
Okay,
And he will be on a website.
okay, on your website? On the
No,
Casablanca.
on the
the
Jewish
website.
Museum
Yeah.
website, he will be on.
Internet is a Jewish museum website. You check.
Yeah.
You will find the image of it. The picture.
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here. And hope to see you in Morocco. That's a pleasure.
Let's go.
Just speak to Haya.